let's talk about missions rotation and get you equipped and ready to teach this summer in your missions rotation at VBS. Now, missions is becoming increasingly important for a lot of our churches because many of us don't have missions education programs anymore. And so the work that you are doing to help kids understand that, yes, everyone can tell people about Jesus, but some God calls for a special purpose, gives them a special job to give their lives to helping others discover a God who loves them and sent his son. And so your job as the missions teacher is incredibly important to VBS. So this summer, we're going to spend a lot of time helping kids dig into two stories of two different missionaries. One is a missionary and then one is a missionary family, and seeing how they both use relationships as a foundation for sharing Jesus's love with the people that they serve. Now, first is the Worthy family. They live in Italy, and every day they have opportunities to share the gospel as they make friends with the people there in Italy. And the other is our old friend, Jorge Santiago. We first met Jorge last year in the Wild VBS, and we get to revisit him this year and see what else he's been doing as he partners with the North American Mission Board and Send Relief teams for them to come over and help with construction projects as they literally help people rebuild their lives, their businesses, their homes, their churches there in Puerto Rico after being devastated by a hurricane. So Jorge uses construction as a way of sharing the gospel with people in Puerto Rico. So it's exciting to get to see him and what he's done over the last year. Now, some things are going to happen in missions rotation every day, like excavation. Kids will actually get to dig through a kiddie pool full of rocks each day and then find special rocks that have words on them that help them talk about the things that they're seeing in the missionaries' stories or in the missions videos each day. Now, that's an insert in the middle of the missions rotation guide for grades 1 through 6. And they have letters on them to help you know the A's are for the Worthy family and the B's go with Jorge. So you can use those as a reference as you set up and discuss the mission stories each day. And then we're also going to have an opportunity for a hands-on mission project. That this year is called Project Hands-On, appropriately named, right? So kids will get to bring in items that will help facilitate missions work that's happening. Now you get to choose what that project is. There may be something that's already going on in your church, or you may have an existing relationship with a ministry or a mission in your community that would be a great fit for this missions project. So it might be things like outfitting your disaster relief teams in your state or in your community with work gloves and hand sanitizers and things like that that would be great on a construction mission trip. You may be helping to staff a clothes closet or a food pantry with food service prep gloves and with cleaning supplies. Maybe you are helping outfit a medical missions team with work gloves that they will need, medical gloves, to help them accomplish their work. So you get to choose what the project is, and then your church will be all hands on deck, helping to bring those things each day and accomplish your goals. We also have an opportunity to partner with the North American Mission Board to send monetary gifts, our offerings that are brought during Vacation Bible School, to help support the work of Jorge Santiago and the teams there in Puerto Rico. And you can give through through Send Relief, that's it, through sendrelief.org/Puerto Rico, and 100% of the monies given through that site go directly to help the work of Jorge and those using construction to share the gospel in Puerto Rico. So here are a couple of things that you'll need. Here are your tools. If you're the missions leader, you need to make sure that your VBS director has given you the proper tools. If you're teaching preschool missions, that would be 3s through rising first graders, this is what yours looks like. It's a book that comes inside the 3s to kindergarten rotation pack. And this is your missions book. You'll see it has a DVD here that has the videos on it, as well as some templates, some downloads. There are also templates in the back so that you don't have to worry about reproducing them off of the disc. You've got them right here to photocopy. And then yours is set up where there is a missions story, a missions video each day from both locations, Puerto Rico as well as Italy. And you'll get an activity to help welcome the kids. Then you'll tell the missionary story. And then there are 2 activities to choose from. You may choose to do both that will help kids interact with the content that they have just seen. There's a time for prayer. There's a time to work on the hands-on missions project. And then there is a game or an activity or a song that helps to close out the time each and every day. So that's available in your 3s to kindergarten missions rotation guide. And then if you're teaching grades 1 through 6, this is what yours looks like. This is the missions rotation guide, and there are all kinds of great features in there. This is your main tool that you need. You'll see that this guide also has a DVD-ROM in it. This is where your missions DVD videos are. And if you do not have a TV or a DVD player in your room, there are instructions here on that first page that help you know how to access those videos from the cloud so that you can download them and you don't even have to use the disc. And in the very middle of this is a full color insert, you'll see there, that lets you have posters and pictures of the missionaries. On the back side is where, for example, those rocks from the opening session are found that help give kids words to listen for each day. So those are reproducible on the back. And here's a tip for you. Go ahead and copy every single item that's on the back of that insert before you do anything else. Let that be your first step. Go ahead and photocopy them all, because as you begin to prep your items and start cutting things apart, you want to make sure that you're not going to cut the poster that's on the front. So pay close attention to how everything is laid out and make sure you have a backup copy in place. You'll also want a few little tips here for you. As you're working through the leader guide, everything you need is in there. So make sure you read it from cover to cover before you even begin. I think that's the #1 mistake most of us make, is just jumping in, assuming we know what we're doing and how to make this work without taking the time to read the finer points that are written in the leader guide. So those things will help you as you plan and lead your VBS. Now, in order for you to pass inspection as a missions rotation leader, there's some steps you're going to need to take to have a successful missions rotation, and they are found on the very first page of your leader guide, page 1. The first one is this: prepare your heart. Pray, spend time praying for your kids that will be coming to VBS. Pray for the missionaries. Pray for yourself as a teacher, that God would let your words be clear, that you would have the flexibility to go with the flow as things don't work according to your plan. Pray for the parents that will be bringing their kids. Pray that God will provide an abundance of opportunities for the gospel to be shared. And then the other part of preparing your heart is to read the stories, the Bible stories that will be talked about each day of Vacation Bible School. Because your job as a missions teacher is not just to teach about missionaries, but it's to help connect everything that kids are doing that day back to the Bible truths for that day. So you get to figure out how to share mission stories and connecting them back to the Bible focus of that day. So next steps for you. #2 is for you to get the basic facts. Now, there are some important facts that you're going to need to know. Talk to your Vacation Bible School director and make sure you know what room you're going to be in. Go by it and see it long before VBS starts so that you can have that picture in your mind and begin thinking about how you'll set up the room, how you'll control children coming in and out. Where would be the best places for them to sit? Are there things that are going to need to be moved out of the room to facilitate better teaching? And then think about things like, how many kids do we expect? That number may change. And I always like to plan for about 10 or 15 more than I think I'm going to have, because inevitably the first day of VBS we have walk-ups, right? So plan for more than you expect, and then you won't be coming up short. You won't be disappointed. You need to know how long you have to teach missions rotation. Is it 15 minutes? Is it 20? Is it 25? Is it 30 minutes? Does that timetable include coming and going, transition times? How many preschoolers will you have in the room? How many kids will you have? Do you have to teach both or just one or the other? Then know your space and your schedule, and your VBS director can help you know all of those basic facts. And those will be important to help determine the rest of how you plan for missions rotation. Next, you need to plan. It kind of goes without saying, doesn't it? But a lot of us forget that basic part is we've got to have a plan, or the kids will make up one when they come in the room, right? And I guarantee you it won't be a plan that you'll be that you'll be happy with. So make sure you have a plan and are ready to execute it the minute the first child arrives to your rotation. Use the Bible story summaries that are on the first page of every single session in grades 1 through 6, or at the front of the leader guide for 3s through kindergarten missions rotation. Use those Bible story summaries to help you know what's been taught during Bible study, and will allow you then to pull things out, to review key points, ask kids what they remember, and use that as a jumping off point for conversation with boys and girls. Then you're going to need to gather and prepare your supplies. Now, this is what I like to do. I like to use the supply list that's provided in the book, and then double check it against what I have chosen to do, because sometimes I like to do some things a little bit different, or I may substitute one supply for another. So I'm going to check them against that. And then I like to divide my supplies into 3 categories. One is things my church already has, so I don't have to worry about it. The next one is things that I need to collect. Maybe I have them at home. Maybe I can ask for people to bring in, 25 Pringles cans, or I'm going to need 50 empty water bottles. Start now collecting those things so that you're not stuck scrambling at the last minute. And then the third category for me is things that need to be purchased. And take these lists with you. Keep them on your phone or in your email, or keep them in a sheet of paper in your purse, so that you're able to check those off as you go over the coming weeks and spread out your preparation. Then I like to get a box or a bag and begin to sort items into the day that they're used. So I have a day 1 box, I have a day 2 box, a day 3 box, and I begin to add those supplies there. And then when it's time for me to walk out the door in the morning, I just grab that box and I'm ready to go. The next thing you need to do is teach, right? Study the Bible story summary and the what you need to know sections. Familiarize yourself with the point for each day and for the biblical truths, so that your missions rotation becomes an extension of the overall point for the day for VBS, because you are still a Bible teacher, even though you're teaching in a rotation. So be prepared and ready for that. And then the final tip for you is to continue the connection. We get an opportunity during VBS to build relationships, and you as a missions teacher will get to meet almost every child that's coming to VBS. So make sure to get to know them, ask questions, figure out things about their family, and then use the days and weeks after VBS to continue this connection that has been begun in Bible school. Use the postcards or the follow-up methods that have been provided by your church to reach out and connect with those families, so that they still feel connected even long after VBS is over. And then the last tip I would give you is just simply to have fun, because VBS is so wonderful. You're going to have a ball getting to know kids and helping them see what God is doing around the world, not just through Vacation Bible School, but because of who He is. He wants everyone to come to know His Son, Jesus. And we get the joy of teaching them about missionaries who are doing just that. So have fun. Enjoy it.